So, Idris Elba, now we copping pleas about why you can play Black Americans in movies and on television because you have dug up your African American, foundational Black American grandfather that's from Kansas City that fought in World War II. You have never, ever, ever until last week stated that you had a Black American grandfather that was from Kansas City who was in World War II. Now, here's the thing. If this is true, we got to do a timeline. Idris Elba was born in 1972. One of his parents would have to be born in at least anywhere from the mid 40s to the early 50s, okay? I don't think the math is really mathing on this, but we're going to figure this out. Let's get into it, shall we? Yes, I'm back. I'm up. I'm trying to go to sleep because I have an appointment tomorrow. That's like via, over the internet and whatever. But I can't go to sleep. I'll probably go to sleep by 5 and wake up around about 11, which is okay. Because then I'll get like 6 hours sleep and I can just go back to sleep afterwards. But anyway, Idris Elba has dug up his Black American grandfather. Now, here's the thing about this. As I said, it could be true, but the timing is off because you've been acting in roles in America going back to 2000, and you never, ever, ever stated, I have a Black American grandfather who was from Kansas City. Now, many people didn't know that he was African when he was on The Wire because he really looked American. He looked like people from my mother's family and my mother's father's family. He really looked like them. But my mother said he may look like us, but he walks African. And I'm like, there's a certain walk they have? She was like, yes, they have a certain walk. So I'm like, okay, fine. So at the time, he was one of the few Black British actors that was over here making a lot of noise. Then Chiwetel Ejiofor came over and made it big. And then there was David Oyelowo. I can't pronounce his name unless I see it. And so it wasn't bad. But then it became, well, we're not going to hire Black Americans to work in the UK. But Black British actors can work in the US. That's when this whole thing started. So in the age of Obama, it seemed like all of these Black British actors was coming out of nowhere. And it really had to do with the strange rule where in your movies, at least 50% of your actors had to come from underrepresented groups. They had to be diverse. So they had to be people of color, women, LGBTQIA people who are disabled, and it shifted, and people who were foreign. So it was a shift. So it's like, that's why people have gotten cut out. Now, this whole thing that he talked about on this show, it's like, you got a Black American grandfather. Okay. Well, when was your Black American grandfather born? What year was he born? So he says, it makes him upset. And this all has to do with Whitney Houston being cast the role of, he used to be cast by this woman named Naomi Aki, who is British, but she's Jamaican. And so everyone's upset. And I don't think people are going to go see this film. And so he's upset because he's basically like, we're all black. You get a Scottish actor playing an Irish character or an English actor, you don't hear about the debate, which is not true because they are debating over this. White American actors are debating over this. So he said, my grandfather fought in the Second World War for this country, the U.S. He comes from Kansas City. I come to this country and someone says to me, you ain't American. And I'm like, huh? How dare you? It's acting. Cultural appropriation? No. That's definitely something we should pay attention to. But in the acting profession, no one should be allowed to play. So that's what he said. And I had to do it in the best possible British accent possible. Maybe because my throat was a little dry. Couldn't, say it the way he would say it. But I like the British accent. And I like, British movies. I've actually liked the music, though, from, like, the British invasion artists. And I like the group Blue Strings. I love the song Slow Down. So, I like the British, thing a little bit. But the difference is that those that came over who were black Brits in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they were kind. And when you speak to them, they still have a very kind presence about them. They don't have a tethering mentality. Like, I'm going to tether onto you because, you're black like me, but I'm going to take over, while I'm doing it. So I'm going to be your friend. And then, I'm going to start having a row with you. And then, I'm going to, take over. They weren't like that. But this group seems like that. And that's the scary thing about it. And I want to know, who is this grandfather? Like, you notice he didn't give a name. He said he was from Kansas City. He fought in World War II. But when did he get time to create a child who was going to be African? Did he go to Sierra Leone? Did he go to Ghana? Because he didn't say that. He didn't say that at all. And that's what's bothering me about this. It's like, your birthday is going to be on Tuesday. You're going to be 50. And we're just now finding out that you got a black American grandfather. Come on now. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. Now, I do know he was married. Although the marriage was a no, I do know he was married to a black American woman. That I know. And I think he was married to a white woman at one time. So we're going to look and see. Okay, so he was born to Winston Elba, a Sierra Leonean Creole man who worked at the Ford Denningham plant, and Eve, a Ghanaian woman. Okay. It don't say anything about a black American, foundational black American grandfather. Yeah. It doesn't even say that. I think he's capping. I think he's capping. Now, his first wife her name is Hannah Norgard. And she's South Korean and black. Daughter's very beautiful. Yeah, she's South Korean and black. Yeah, I'm not buying this at all until he gives a name. And that is all. Let me see. Where's the woman from? Okay. Yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Yeah.